After a thug was sentenced to prison, the court confiscated his belongings, including a whopping $12,000 he had for a trip. However, once the entitled thug demanded that the court return his cash once he's free, his smug grin faded when a female judge met his ultimatum with 5 brilliant words. As the Muslim population grows, so does their list of religious demands. Unable to coexist, much less integrate, Muslims are not only required to follow Sharia law but to overthrow man-made law and implement their religious commands per the Quran. So, when a devout Muslim carried out his religious compulsion to enforce the Sharia upon unwilling unbelievers, he wasn't deterred in the slightest from keeping with his ideological entitlement. Fortunately, a female judge was there to slap his ultimatum with a perfectly politically incorrect reply. Michael Coe, a bodyguard of convicted ISIS recruiter Anhem Chowdhury, was sentenced to 28 months in prison in December 2016 for enforcing Sharia law by beating a 16-year-old boy who was committed the Islamic offense of hugging his teen girlfriend in London, England. Disturbingly, Coe was just as devout and entitled after entering his cell as he was when he was strong-arming schoolboys for innocent public displays of affection. Knowing that police had confiscated over $12,000 in cash he had allegedly saved for a suspicious vacation to the Middle East, Coe demanded that the court release his money so that he could collect once he gets out of prison. Unfortunately for him, he received an incredibly humiliating response. After demanding the court release his $12,000, Judge Vanessa Baritzer responded to Coe by informing him that the money now belongs to the court because she believes he would use it to fund Islamic terrorism, the Evening Standard reports. The response is exceptionally humiliating to Coe considering that the judge is a non-Muslim and a woman, which the Quran explains must hold no authority over Muslim men, and because she has now taken control of impressive pocket change he collected. Upon hearing Coe's demand, Judge Baritzer ruled in favor of prosecutors' request to keep over $5,300 seized from him on after his arrest and another $6,700 confiscated in July of 2016 when he was detained at Heathrow Airport. Judge Baritzer believes that Coe planned to use the money to travel to Syria to fight for the Islamic State and hopes to prevent him from spending it to fund terrorist acts once he is released from prison. The female justice explained to the court that she did not accept his account in relation to his reasons for travel. Although Coe was sentenced to 2 years and 4 months in prison for beating a young boy and leaving him bloodied in the street, he smiled and waved to his mother in the gallery of the courthouse. He has shown no remorse for his actions and will undoubtedly return to terrorizing British civilians again. He, Coe, allegedly demanded to know if the couple were Muslim, and called the girl, also 16, a whore. "Let that schoolgirl go," the boy was told, before he added, "How would you like it if your sister was cuddling?" When they replied, he said, "Why am I wasting my time with you if you are not Muslim?" You saw 2 young people behaving as young people lawfully and frequently do in every town and every street across the country, Judge Michael Gledhill-Kersey said. "In my judgment, you took offense very shortly after you saw these 2 because you thought they were young Muslims, and to your way of thinking at that time, Islam prohibits such behavior. You stopped to reprimand them and you were acting as a self-appointed enforcer of your interpretation at the time of how a Muslim should behave." Although Justice Baritzer's ruling is completely logical, it is disturbingly becoming more uncommon thanks to the West's liberal approach to multiculturalism. In fact, a report surfaced on September 27 that after former Guantanamo detainee Raymond Matimba was granted $1.34 million in taxpayer-funded compensation, he used it to fund the Manchester Arena bombing that killed 22 in May. Authorities are still trying to track where much of his compensation money went and suspect that he has funded other ISIS activity. Similarly, the Canadian government and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau awarded jihadist and Gitmo detainee Omar Khadr $8 million in taxpayer-funded compensation, claiming that the country had violated his human rights. Khadr was jailed after killing 1 U.S. soldier and blinding another with hand grenades in Afghanistan, but later claimed that his confession was coerced through torture. Although the majority of Canadians are outraged by his payout, progressive Liberal Trudeau patronized his citizens, callously chiding that they should be angry that a Canadian government violated a Canadian's fundamental rights. The West must stop giving in to these Islamic demands because they only lead to further demands. Sharia law not only mandates religious behavior but literally every aspect of life for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. It embodies two sets of laws, one for Muslims and one for non-Muslims, who are called dhimmi. In order for dhimmi to be allowed to live, they must adhere to countless oppressive religious and social legislation, many of which warrant the death penalty if disobeyed. Every Muslim-majority country today first began with a Muslim minority invading and expanding Sharia law. Now, the most Muslim countries are also the most Sharia oppressed. The West is no exception. The goal of Muslims, as outlined in the Quran, is to infiltrate every nation on earth and eradicate all other ideologies until only Islam remains. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe to my channel.